You're listening to Contesting Wrestling, Minisode 43. We are this week was different. As weeks go, Contesting Wrestling on Monday, we unlocked our premium episode where we examined the first episode of Lucha Underground, talk about it. We recorded that a few months ago, and then on Wednesday we went into Frogtown, and we're like, this is okay, I guess. Thought it would be more fun.
Frogtown's cool.
And then we left. And in some ways, I'm still there. In some ways, in my mind, I'm still in Frogtown. Somebody telling me to shut my hole.
Attempting to learn the dance of the three snakes.
It's penises, everybody. It's code for penises. Yes. He has 3 penises.
So, sad news this week concerning Kamala Harris. Not Kamala Harris. James Kamala Harris, the great professional wrestler, passed away.
Yeah. He had been in poor health for a while, and I hate to say this, but making it to 70 is kind of decent for a lot of guys in his generation, even though he was in poor health.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of guys
had
kind of come together and helped him over the last several years of his life. He had lost both of his legs to diabetes. He almost lost his house to the tax man, actually, because he had paid off his house, but he had to pay taxes on it. Did a big GoFundMe for that. Chris Jericho came through and gave him $5,000 towards the 12 on that, and he did it. And
Jericho usually comes through and stuff like that.
Jericho came through for another $5,000 for the GoFundMe for his funeral, so, which is on there. But Kamala was a very interesting figure over the years. Very interesting indeed. His character could I don't want to say could be. It could definitely be described as a broad racist caricature of an African headhunter. And it was the idea of Jerry Lawler. We talked about that on this podcast once, how he had seen a painting of like cannibals and thought, wow, this guy looks like that. But he took that idea and made a decades-long successful career out of it. He was a great performer.
Yeah, wrestled in just every single territory because the gimmick was very successful in each one, but not particularly long-lived. So he'd be on top in one place, and then he'd leave and be on top in the next.
Well, a character like Kamala was perfect to come in and feud with the top babyface, but not win the title. And then maybe, if he's really hot, feud with the second top babyface and then kind of lose down the line. But if you had a lot of territories to work, like you did back in the day, you wouldn't want to stick around for too long because you don't want a job to everybody. You job to the top couple of guys, then you go to the next town down. And then they don't really know you, so you can wrestle their top guys. And, you know, if you're a worker, you know, it matters if you're in the main event, not if you're going over.
I feel like one of the most tragic things that I've learned about wrestlers and wrestling so far, and this is sort of true of all athletes, but seems to be extremely true of wrestlers, is there is an inherent tragedy to spending so much of your life getting into peak physical condition and still living a far shorter life than your average human being. At least your average American.
You get yourself in shape to destroy your body.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's sort of like you pass. There's a point at which physical conditioning. It's like a parabola where at a certain point it's just like, oh well, now you're just burning through. Like now you're just burning through how many times you can bend your knees in your life, and you're gonna be out of knee bends by the time you're 50. Like,
I've heard people who run marathons have serious problems with their knees.
Running in general seems to be not great for you.
I actually just saw a great, completely unrelated video about that. Maybe I'll send it to you and you give it a look. But yeah, it's a repeated explosive impact that all the joints in your lower body have to absorb. Running isn't necessarily very good for you.
Neither is wrestling sexy star if you get on her bad side. As we talked about during the Lucha Underground episode, I looked it up. Combat Americas is the name of the MMA promotion that she fights for now, which is probably a better fit for her.
Yes, it does sound like it was a better fit for her, considering she loves getting into real fights.
Yeah, if you want to get into real fights, there's a place for it now. I think some certain people in the wrestling business and some of the older guard lament how a lot of the younger wrestlers are openly not actually particularly tough guys. But the actually not particularly tough guys are going to own the wrestling business because the actual particularly tough guys are going into MMA. There's a place for them to actually do that with as few restrictions on their fighting as necessary. If you can't restrain yourself enough to be a boxer, perhaps you can restrain yourself enough to be an MMA fighter.
And because wrestlers, at the end of the day, no matter what else is going on, I mean, y'all are theater kids, right? Like that's kind of
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like at least you're the theater.
That wasn't the case in the past.
Oh, certainly,
but yeah.
certainly not.
Well, somebody had observed on Twitter that particular shift happened at some point over the last 20 years. It went from being rooms full of jocks to rooms full of theater kids who have the same drama and the same bullshit between all of them. And it's real, except the only thing is now the real fights are a lot less exciting.
Now, I would imagine MMA. I mean, I'm sure MMA is like physically worse for you, but you also don't do it as often as you would wrestle if you're a wrestler.
That's
So
the big
I wonder
trade-off.
if, yeah, I wonder if it like shaves the same number of years off your life, or slightly fewer, or slightly more.
Being a top professional wrestler long term is much worse for you because of the volume of matches that you have. Like you nailed it right there. If you can stay relatively concussion free in MMA, your body is probably in better condition. Really, it's the training is the thing for both of them because you do that all the time. Like especially MMA fighters get hurt in training a lot because they go through like ridiculous camps to peak their bodies on a certain day, and sometimes something goes wrong.
I have barely watched any MMA in my life, but as a podcast nerd, I have watched the Chapo adjacent documentary Fighting in the Age of Loneliness, which is a documentary by Felix Biederman and somebody else whose name I can't remember about MMA and sort of it's how it is sort of a place for men to be intimate with each other in a way that's still acceptable in terms of traditional masculinity. Highly recommended. It's on YouTube. It's not particularly long. But it does seem... Where was I going with that? Hold on. You might have to cut this bit. Oh, yeah. It seems like it is somehow even more exploitative than wrestling, too. Like, it is somehow... You somehow manage to make even less money, and it's even harder to get on top.
That sounds about right, because, I mean, you have to be so good to be on top, you have to actually win.
Right, and there are fewer spots overall.
You have to actually beat up all the other fighters. Yeah.
And you lose once, you get a name for yourself, and then you lose once, and you're fucked.
Yeah, you can't spend 15 years working on your craft and then, like, really get to it. Once you and also once you've lost a few times, chances are you've been knocked out a few times, which is really bad for you. If you ever see a fighter that's like 23 and 19, they're not going to be the fastest, even if they've been practicing this whole time.
There's no Ric Flair or Undertaker type careers in MMA.
No.
Occasionally, you'll see older MMA guys have fights with other older MMA guys as attraction matches, not as, like, we're competing for the UFC Heavyweight Championship, but, like, Chuck Liddell wants to have a fight. Come see Chuck Liddell have a fight. They do it in boxing, too. Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson are going to have an exhibition fight.
Oh, my God, how old is Mike Tyson now, too? Like, that's going to be silly.
I think they're both in their 50s. Roy Jones Jr. has been way more active, but that also means there's a lot more wear on him.
Just two middle-aged men punching each other.
They've said that it's going to be 9 rounds, and they're not allowed to actually knock each other out. It's like sparring, kind of. people are still going to want to watch it because of the hype and everything. But that's the market for old fighters. And you can only do that, I might add, if you were, in fact, one of the absolute top fighters in the world, or else nobody wants to see the number 10 ranked fighter from 15 years ago have a fight.
I also imagine this could just be my perspective as a person who is spectacularly uncompetitive, but I feel like I can't imagine, like, there's a lot of emotional pressure as a wrestler, obviously, and there's a lot of like any art form, there are nights you're going to go home and cry about it and be like, why do I do this? Am I any good? Even the people who are the best at it are the best because they're constantly holding themselves to unrealistic standards, because that is how you become a great artist, kind of, is to constantly not necessarily chastise yourself, but like constantly be pushing yourself to some sort of a goal. There always has to be a higher goal than where you're at if you want to continue being great artists. Yeah. But the pressure of like,
it takes some self-cruelty, as Nietzsche would put it.
Yes, absolutely. And like the pressure to like actually have to win a contest, I don't know, I couldn't fucking handle that. I could imagine, now that I've learned a lot about wrestling, I could imagine some alternate universe where I was super into wrestling when I was young and like actually went and became a wrestler. I could totally see that being a possible thing. But like the idea of like entering into like a like real fight with rules that like I had to win in order to like feel like I was worthwhile, like, oh, I can't even imagine that shit, man.
I was in some karate tournaments when I was a little kid, and I lost in the first round, and I could not imagine doing whatever it was necessary to win.
Man, Evan is so uncompetitive, he won't even accept participation trophies.
No,
He
I
screams as you bring it
tournaments.
If you bring one towards him, he starts screaming incoherently.
I demanded that
I don't deserve this.
I demanded that we melt down all of the participation trophies into precious metals that we could then distribute to the poor kids in my high school. Actually, we didn't do the participation
to everybody
trophy
who
thing,
didn't participate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad they were made of plastic, and you just like
just
created
really
a bunch
bad
of
I
smells.
asked
Yeah, it's not good.
once on my personal Facebook page as a blanket statement. So, who do I know that got participation trophies, and what did you think of them at the time? And a surprisingly large number of people said, yeah, I got participation trophies and medals for doing things. And 201, everybody said, we thought they were garbage. They were 100% for our parents. If we wanted to win, we would have wanted to win, and this was kind of insulting. And if we...
Yeah, I don't ever remember getting one personally, honestly.
Yeah, and if we didn't care about winning, we didn't want something that told us we didn't win, because that's just rude.
And while I never got one, I don't know if it was just something that they didn't do in the city or if I was like a little too old.
I got them doing karate.
Okay,
like
maybe
from those tournaments I was talking about.
But like, yeah, I feel like if I had like participated in some sort of sport that I knew I was bad at, and then like at the end they came up to 12-year-old me who was fat and constantly people assumed I was a girl and I just had a lot of body issues and all this stuff. Like if somebody come up to me and like been like, here's a trophy for you had the best smile. Like I would have known what that was. Like I think kids aren't that fucking stupid. Like absolutely. Like it's Also, I don't know, whenever I actually haven't heard a boomer toss out the participation trophy thing in a while. I feel like that kind of peaked in the 2000s.
I hear other.
But
it was the 2010s, but yeah, they got over it. Mostly.
I hear other millennials using it now, and I'm like, shut up! You know the deal.
God,
we all knew the deal. Come on. The thing about the participation trophy thing is that it grew up to big companies offering their workers a $10 gift card for higher productivity instead of a raise.
Pizza party.
Yeah,
pizza party.
How about some health care? Damn it.
Well,
how about
pizza
party if you get enough sales? How about commission?
How about commission? I'd be a lot more inclined to push the product if I got a cut.
The worst place I knew of that, the worst place about that is Best Buy. About 10 years back, they started taking commission away, slowly taking commission away from all of their employees, but still to this day treat their employees like they are commission based. Except now you don't get rewarded for any sort of sales you make, but you get threatened if you don't sell enough. Then they threaten to fire you.
Jesus.
Yeah, Best Buy is fucking terrible. Best Buy, if you're listening, fuck you and fuck your stupid, fuck you. That's all I got. I can't even think of anything witty.
There's a place I used to work that I'm not going to name check because there's a chance I'm going to be so broke at some point I will have to go back there and try to work. But it's a well-known grocery store chain that people have an unrealistic view of, and it was amazing to me how like their relationship with the employees was basically this delicate dance of how can we keep you pacified and how can we keep you convinced that, you know, management is on your side and cares about you, and while still extracting as much value from you as humanly possible, which is in a microcosm of like kind of any job. But they just really had it down to an art form in a way that, like, I don't know, and especially like the anti-union stuff that they almost certainly sat down with every single manager and like gave them a crash course in how to, if you hear union talk in the break room, like this is how you would address it or something. And like it was some of the most insidious shit I'd ever seen in my life, where I saw managers bring topics up in sort of normal everyday conversation, and then I would hear those same exact conversational like point and like some of the same exact phrases repeated by different managers at different stores I worked at over the years, still brought up in that supernaturalistic way. And it was like the fucking, sorry, what?
No. I was gonna ask, did you get shown like the anti-union videos too? I got shown one of those at Target, like the ones that literally like have like fake sad employees being like, now that the union's here, I can't get enough hours because they won't let me. I slipped and fell and I was fine, but the union won't let me go back to work. Those ones that portray the union as this devil that limits your ability to grow in your job.
So I have heard of those videos. This place that I worked, they were very smart in that instead of having those, they showed those videos to the managers, and then the managers would just disseminate those points as if they were friendly, like conversational points they were just sort of naturally bringing up with their coworkers.
Oh yeah, I got shown one at, and I won't even give them the courtesy of not naming them because I'll never go back and work there. Target shows those.
Oh yeah, I believe it. Oh, and Target's fucking what a trash. Especially Target, man. Something that's always blown my mind about Target's presence in New York City is like Target's just the Walmart we decided we were cool with. Like there's no no fundamental difference between the two things.
Target is
it's just shittier.
Yeah.
No, Target's better than Walmart. Trust me. Even like I'm not saying
not the one over here on 14th.
No. I've been in the one on 14th Street. Ben, trust me, as someone you've lived in the city your whole life, you haven't been to many Walmarts. I'm from the Midwest. I have been to a wealth of various Walmarts over the year. Trust me when I say Target, no matter how the shittiest Target you've been in, has nothing on even an average rural Walmart. Trust me. Walmart is where souls go to die. The Walmart in South Philly is one of the saddest places I have ever been, and that's not an exaggeration.
When I was a kid, and we were visiting my relatives in Tupelo, Mississippi, I remember we went to a Walmart, and
it's a good Nick Cave song about that.
And then it's a great song. We went to this Walmart, and the section that just sold couch pillows was larger than the apartment I lived in from ages 7 to 18 in New York City.
Wow.
And not substantially smaller than every apartment I lived in New York City after that, from ages 18 to now.
I believe you.
I also bought a shirt at Walmart once for $4, and I was like, and then in that moment I understood like I think that was like an early moment in me understanding the complex disease of capitalism.
Yeah.
Because I had always been like, oh, fuck Walmart. Walmart's just bad. And then it was like the first time as an adult I went into a Walmart and I was like, man, I really need a new shirt. And I only have $4. And I can get a shirt now. And oh, shit.
Apparently, you can also get health care there now.
Oh, my
that
God.
does not surprise
Or
me.
they're setting that up.
Yeah.
Not hell. You mean actual insurance?
I don't know.
Because there's been walk-in clinics in Walmarts for decades.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like for 20 years I want to say that's been happening for at least 20 years. It started getting really widespread, like I want to say in the mid-2000s. They've had walk-in clinics in Walmarts for a long time.
Ben, I think you're thinking of Walgreens that are about to start opening walk-in clinics to go with their large pharmacies. That includes
CVS, I think, is the one that came up with that.
CVS is.
Well, I have one of those right
CVS is
over
owned
here.
by Walgreens now. I
Yeah.
believe.
Is it?
No,
I
no,
thought
I'm
it was the
wrong.
other way around.
Dwayne Reed
is
and
owned by
Walgreens are the
Yeah,
same.
CVS is its own huge
CVS
entity.
is its own huge entity. That was my mistake.
It is man.
Okay.
We watched a video on how surprisingly was it a Company Man?
Yes, it's an entertainment.
Yes,
YouTube
Company
channel
Man.
about
He's
companies.
a very good YouTuber. He has a good video about exactly how large you don't realize certain companies are, and one of the ones he's done is CVS.
He did a video about
and-
the XFL once.
Interesting. I should check
Who
him out.
The Rock bought just.
Yeah,
in
The
last
Rock
week.
bought the XFL. Lol.
We'll see where that goes. Okay, but on participation trophies, the one place where I am in favor of them is the R-Truth game show, which is incredibly entertaining. I've been watching it on the WWE Network every week. It's just wonderful. R-Truth is his wacky self, and it's great.
I'm glad they're giving him a vehicle for his amazingness.
Totally. And it allows all of his guests, like all the other people on the roster, to loosen up and just kind of be themselves, which is so much better than the freaking stodgy characters that they're forced into. I liked that on the recent episode because I was listening back to our premium episode and, we kept in some of our connectivity issues to some comic effect. And they did the same thing on the R-Truth show. Jey Uso wasn't coming in clear, but it worked for that segment.
I really think, I remember the first time I did it, I was so proud of myself. Like, oh, I found a way to use this. And I just realized everybody is experiencing so many goddamn issues with the chat stuff. And it's inevitable that people are going to have to start figuring out ways to incorporate that comedically into the product because otherwise you're just going to have to chop out 20 minutes out of every fucking 2-hour recording
it's a sign
you do.
of the times. People can relate to it.
Man. So I'm trying to think. Let's see, we got to
Carrie Lynn.
as of now. Oh
Coming
wait,
up.
sorry. What were you saying?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to talk about what's coming up next.
Oh,
for
I was
us.
going to. Well, this is sort of about that. I will get to our next episode soon. But I was going to say we are continuing our Lucha Under. We've done 4 total episodes of Lucha Underground so far.
Yeah.
We're probably going to pick that up soon. Pick up the pace on that a little bit and get through at least the first season relatively soon. The episodes have been coming out regularly. We've kind of been on a recording vacation while I took a class over the last few weeks, so we're getting
He's
back
died
into
a little
recording.
inside while he did.
I did die a little inside. Learning is hard, especially when you're old.
We just had our first, as Evan mentioned earlier, our first installment of our Hollywood Backlot Film Club.
A name we retroactively came up with, so it is not mentioned in the episode that is the name of it.
No.
Yeah.
But I said it on Instagram, so it's a real thing. I think the next one should be Surf's Up 2, right? Since we've been talking about
it has to
Jeez,
be.
oh
It
my
has
God.
to be.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I don't know if I'm gonna have to watch Surf's Up 1. I don't know if I'm gonna be lost.
You have to
I'll
watch it.
have to watch it.
I do want to throw this out here. At some point, we are going to have to make Evan watch Ready to Rumble.
Ooh, I've never seen Ready to Rumble.
Oh, is that
At
the
some
one?
point, we are going to have to make Evan and Ben watch Ready to Rumble.
That's the one with David Arquette,
is.
right? Came out in the
Yes.
90s? Yeah.
And then we'll have to also show you David Arquette in WCW
Well,
at the
he's-
time.
Yes, it'll be complimenting
Well,
episodes.
the documentary about his return to wrestling is about to come out. I saw that
It looks
the trailer
great.
looks fantastic. If you haven't seen it, what is it called? I
Fuck,
can't
we're
remember
gonna
the name
do
off
a
the top
whole
of my
fucking
head.
David
Something like
Arquette
you cannot
episode.
kill
We
David
sure
Arquette
are.
or something.
I think that's
saw
it, yeah.
DDP
Yeah, no, we're
posted it.
definitely gonna have to do a David Arquette episode when appropriate. He's of all the non-wrestlers that touched wrestling, his is a unique story, and for once he wasn't the problem really. He was just a bystander who happened to get in way over his head. And,
No, he was never the problem, you know?
good
He
performer.
he didn't want the title.
I got to see Timothy Thatcher beat the shit out of him at an indie show
great.
once. It was great. He was really good at getting the shit beaten out of him.
I feel like the Arquettes are like they're like the not an alternate universe. They're just as like Hollywood acting families go, they are by far the strangest. And I love
Yes.
them. I love every single one
Same.
of them. All like there's at least 4 of them.
yeah.
And all of them have delivered at least one classic insane performance.
Oh, one of
in
them
a
passed
movie.
away a couple of years back. The trans woman.
I think
What was her name?
Alexis, who was in
Alexis,
she
yes.
was in The Wedding Singer.
Yes, she
Uh,
was.
And
Cool.
yeah, and was in some other stuff too. I'm trying to remember, but was really good in that. And I'm being attacked by my own cat.
Again, yes. Yes, she died in 2016.
David Arquette survived all the Scream movies. Not a lot of people could say that.
No. But oh yeah, all right. So unless we have some any other business, I'm gonna talk a little bit about next week's episode. Next week we have possibly our most respectable guest we have yet had. No offense to the other guests that we've had, but none of you were academics. So what?
And that is, of course, what makes you respectable.
And that yes,
And the only thing of importance
you.
for respect in society.
That is what you keep telling me.
Yes.
But yeah, we have on Monday we've got an episode coming out with the fantastic Dr. Carrie Lynn Reinhardt, who Ben, what's the exact title?
She's the president of the Pro Wrestling Studies Association, most relevantly to this podcast.
I'm the president of the Poop Joke Association.
Of this podcast, yes.
The PSA, yes.
I thought you were
I am the president of the PSA of contesting wrestling.
I thought you were ousted in a violent coup.
Wait, it was No. Let me redo that. I am the president of the PGA of contesting wrestling, the Poop Joke Association. But yes, I was ousted in a violent
Joke
coup.
with a G. Or did you say J?
It was.
I don't know anymore. I don't know the alphabet, Ben. Look at Ben again with his PhD explaining the alphabet to me like he's better than me. He's licking. He is literally licking gravy off his laminated PhD on the Zoom as we speak.
At least it's laminated.
Yeah, at least it's. That's why he got it laminated, so he could put gravy on it.
Bad idea otherwise, yeah.
You were ousted in what has widely become known as the poo coup.
Oh.
It would be funny, but
Poo-
like
poo
14.
coup.
It would be funny, but like 14 people died, so it's it's not really something we should be joking about. But yeah, so
I don't
Otherwise
know.
known
Which
as
is weird because-
Dookie Gate.
Which is weird because if 14 people died, like, who were they and why did they die when this is a 4-person operation?
we've already forgotten their names. It's so
I mean, I
tragic.
didn't forget Hobart's name, so.
Well, he
Oh,
died in unrelated circumstances.
Yeah, whoever started the Hobarth Abelson Twitter page, you're sick, and thank you for listening. We hope you
I
continue.
can't believe we have
Thank you.
somebody who likes us that much. That's amazing to me.
I have a
is
strong
amazing
hunch
to
who
me.
it
I've
is.
got a hunch, but I won't spoil my hunch on air.
I recently,
Yeah, me either.
I recently had a brief Instagram exchange with our friend Brendan, from who some of us knew in college. I have known Brendan since elementary school, And dude, if you're listening, just Instagram is like the last place I ever check for messages. So sorry if I like don't get back to you about stuff. But he was like, dude, I download your episodes even if I don't get a chance to listen to them just to keep the count up over here in South Korea. And I was like,
nice.
man, I am so touched by that. It's like hard to really.
We can see that on
because
the map.
It is. So it's great. And you know, doing this, like sometimes you're like, is there a point to this? And it's really nice when people are like respond well. But yeah, so if you want to get ready for Monday, track down a version of AEW Fighter Fest Night 2, which many of you I'm sure saw. It's the one with the Cassidy Jericho match. The first Cassidy Jericho. I still have yet to see the second one. I'm gonna have to change that. I will watch that for the next minisode.
For the next,
and
something
coming out. I don't know what we're doing here, guys, and I want everybody to be clear about that. But yeah,
We'll get
so
back on track.
this has been Contesting Wrestling Minisode. Please follow us on Twitter @ContestingW. Let us know what your feelings are about anything. If it's wrestling related, I mean, obviously that's more relevant to what we're doing, but whatever. Just share your thoughts. That's fine. It's okay. Doc runs the Twitter, so it doesn't impact me negatively if you just want to send him a bunch of stuff.
And send all complaints to @ScribeBen.
@Scribe, yeah. Hit me up for negative stuff. Hit me up on Twitter @ScribeBen. If you want to say good things to me, that's Evan Burke, etc. But Evan Burke, etc. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
I will answer no questions about Hobarth. Just letting you know.
Yeah, unless you are the person who runs the Hobarth Abelson Twitter account, revealing your identity to us. That's the one scenario in which we'll respond. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/contestingwrestling. $5 a month. You get a bonus episode every week. $1 a month. Sorry if you are one of the dollar listeners. I'm so sorry we have not been posting the episodes in advance. Things have been a little chaotic at Contesting Wrestling HQ, but we're gonna get back ahead of that schedule soon, and there will be actual rewards for the dollar tier beyond just thank
And
you.
we
where
still
you will
love
get.
you.
We do. We really, really love you.
Thank you very much.
Especially my friend Vic. Vic, I don't know if you're listening to this, but if you are, thank you so much for joining our Patreon. It's fantastic.
He's lying. He was talking shit on you right before we hit record.
Don't say that.
So we have another $5 patron too, don't we?
We do.
Yes, Jalen.
Jalen, yes. Thank you very much for signing up. We hope you enjoy the trove of premium material you've now unlocked.
You said we've been doing pretty well lately,
Yeah,
Doc.
I've been looking at our numbers
In the ratings.
Our last several.
How are we doing in the 18 to 35 demo?
Not quite as well as AEW, but
Okay.
I'm just saying the last few main episodes have gotten to the numbers that I'm thinking of faster than recently. You know, it's not like we're exploding or anything, but I think we're doing something right. Thanks everybody for listening. You know, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Share and enjoy.
We truly appreciate it. This has been Contesting Wrestling. We love you.